I make digital collages, and I work also in collaboration with AI.
Okay,
And I
cool.
have a background in architecture, so I moved from architecture to art.
I have a friend, artist, designer, because all creative people, obviously. George Soya, who is a digital collage artist that I know very well, and he uses NFTs, and he has been using NFTs for a long time. Motion design, artist and teacher. Okay. Okay, good. All creative people. You let me know when we start. Thelma.
Yes. I wanted just to ask you to do like yesterday a moment for picture, digital picture. So if you can, show your face and turn on the camera, so I can take a picture for communication for our report. Yes, I will wait 1 minute.
I mean, tell us, because we have to smile.
I'm sorry, I know that there is someone is like no makeup in the bed, just trying to listen the information. I'm a horrible person, sorry. And
I
also,
go.
okay. And now I think we can start, then people will join us later. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you to be here again, and welcome for the second day of a webinar led by Eleonora Brizzi as part of FLUX project. As yesterday, I see new people arrive, probably today or yesterday evening. So anyway, I'm Thelma from Meet, one of the partner of FLUX project, together with Lab in Art Express, Mota, and Alice in Blockchain. The most of you have followed also the webinar of Alice in Blockchain last week. Anyway, I will do a quick introduction of the project. It's a European initiative designed to promote and support female digital creativity. Especially, we will focus on topic of new technology and in the art world, such as blockchain and NFT. So today's webinar, as yesterday, is led by Eleonora Brizzi, and she will focus on one of the most significant turning point in the history of NFTs. But today she will not only analyze the landmark sale, but also explore the role as an artist of people. So I will leave the floor to Eleonora that will explain everything. And yes, the webinar will last 1 hour till 5 p.m. So thank you. I will be here anyway.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Thelma. Hello again. Yes, so we are coming from 2 hours webinar yesterday about the history of NFTs. And as you noticed, there is a reason for which when we organized the historical NFT festival, we decided to cover from 2011 up until 2019. We stopped slightly earlier than when everything really changed, because everything really changed forever in 2021. So the year that I always make the joke, before Christ and after Christ, I say it's before Christus and after Christus, because in February 2021, Christie's auction house sold, and this was and has forever been the news, sold an NFT for $69 million. That was finally everyone started to pay attention to the space. So if you followed the webinar yesterday, as you did, I think that it's very interesting now, like coming from what we talked about yesterday, you know, like starting from this pure experimentation, going through first attempts of, how do I take this? Sorry, I will have to figure out how to take it off. Going through like first attempts of creating, you know, these like images attached to a token. The token is the art, and then we see the creation of communities, and then we see the creation of collectors, and then creation of artists, and then like more and more people joining the space, and then the platforms arrive, and then a real market is formed for this. But then, as I already mentioned yesterday, I talk about this as if it is like the most important thing in the world and the most known thing in the world, but it was actually a very minuscule niche inside the digital art, inside the contemporary art, almost unknown until 2021. So yes, what happens in 2021 is that very unexpectedly, especially for all the people like us who were in the space for a very long time for the blockchain time, since 2018, and someone even earlier, 2017. As we mentioned the project yesterday, Pepe 2016, CryptoPunks 2017, Dada 2017. In 2021, all of a sudden, after years of the art world completely not knowing anything about NFTs and blockchain, after the efforts of creating events to gather people and explain the power of this technology and what it could have done for not for the world of art, but especially for the artists and creatives, after years of silence and really like being ignored, if not being considered crazy, we received this news that an NFT got sold for 69 million, and the NFT is by Beeple, and we never heard about Beeple. Beeple is not an NFT artist. It is not someone that is in the space. We don't know who that is. Obviously, he was already in the scene because Beeple is not an improvised artist. Beeple has been an artist for many years and has been in the digital space, not necessarily art space. He created in the past these VJ videos that in a very cool way, he shared as open source, like a Creative Commons, so that everyone could use. But we don't know him. He's not in the art world, and we don't understand how this happened, that someone got to sell an NFT for this price. So before continuing to talk about Beeple and what happened, I would like to ask like everyone, first of all, if we know who Beeple is. Like, do you guys know who Beeple is and what it represents? And especially if, like, I would like if you can take the mic or write, you don't have to show your face, but to tell me like in February 2021, if you actually experienced, like, to heard about this thing that an NFT sold for 69 million and what you thought, even if you didn't know about NFTs, because nobody actually knew about NFTs.
Well, I think everybody heard about it, and it was crazy, totally crazy. Yes.
Exactly. That was the reaction.
I heard about him in 2019, 2020, but not because of NFTs, because of VJing, and I downloaded some of his loops, and yeah, he was really good. And I didn't know about NFTs until you spoke here. I mean, until we spoke here at the course.
Ah,
Yeah,
did
yeah.
you hear?
He's really good.
Did you hear about
Not
NFTs?
I didn't hear about NFTs. I heard about him before NFTs. So because I'm doing
Okay.
animations and some VJing before, and I knew about him because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, as I said, like it was Creative Commons, so it was very cool,
Yeah.
right? Like you can, yeah. Okay, anyone else? Please talk.
Well, I also
Well,
heard about that crazy auction price. And yeah, what I thought was like, I want to do that too, but of course, like it's not that that easy, right? But like that was, I think, the thought that many people had, like, you know, like
Yeah,
with, of course, like that was there was a lot of, you know, other things involved, but like it will be amazing, you know, to reach those heights.
Yes, and that's pretty much what also the rest of the world thought. Like, I want to do that too. And that's where everything like started really like, I don't know, we were just shocked. I was shocked. We were all shocked. We like called each other also because a very dark period started for like crypto art and all the projects that we have talked about yesterday, because there was completely like, ignorance about what happened until now. Like, how was it possible for someone like Beeple to mint an NFT on Makerspace? What is Makerspace? When was Makerspace created? Who created the smart contract? It's basically like using years to build a space that was consigned in the hands of an auction house that used it, and now obviously the news and like in the art world, it was almost like the year zero. It starts from 2021, so it was very hard to accept at the beginning. But then eventually, after like the first boom of, like start hearing about NFT artists very much improvised that never existed and didn't even know what the blockchain was, then the interest of people started to go back a little bit. It's like, okay, but is there a history about this? But after like a year, after maybe 6 months, like, is there a history about this? Is there other artists? And so after a long while, we started to receive requests, and the curiosity of trying to understand like what happened before. So after this phenomenon, it was like the situation for NFTs changed forever. How was the price formed? Why exactly 69 million? This is such a good question. It is known how the whole situation happened. So there is a problem with the sale of Beeple. So first of all, you must know that I am very hardcore pro blockchain. So although now I know Beeple and I love him, before getting to know him as a person, I was always angry about what happened. So what happened is that the NFT was minted on Makerspace, which is actually a platform that I work for now. Like, I'm a curator at Makerspace. But anyways, so it was minted on Makerspace, but then the bids happened on the website of Christie's. So they happened off chain. So if you have an NFT and you want to bid on a platform, every time you put a bid, like you put a bid for $100, and then Telma puts a bid for 120. Every time you interact with the blockchain, since the bids are also recorded, you pay a gas fee. Like, every time you talk to the blockchain, every time the blockchain does something for you, you pay a gas fee. But then everything is recorded. So you can forever see that there were 25 people bidding on Beeple's artwork. And it's certified and recorded and not corruptible. But the bids happened off-chain, so that didn't happen on Makerspace. They used the platform, they used the smart contract of this platform that was actually built for Beeple, customized for this work. But then the bids happened at Christie's, like on Christie's website. And happening on Christie's website, it's off-chain. So the way that it works in auction houses is that you put your credit card, right? Like at the beginning, I believe like you need to have a certain amount of money, and then like if you have a certain amount of money, you can bid until a certain amount. I know that there were two bidders having like a big war, and finally Metacoven won. How the price was formulated is crazy, because because Beeple's work was online with a bid of $100 for, I believe, 14 days. And then the last hours of the auction, it went to 69 million. So how was it formed? I don't know. And second thing, there is no transaction of the payment. The transaction of the payment is not on the blockchain because it was not bought on Maker's Place, which completely defies every principle of transparency that the blockchain has ever created, ever. That's why you bid on the blockchain and you buy on the blockchain. I send you the NFT and you send me the transaction. So I don't know, like if you ask me, I don't even believe that it was sold for 69 million. I can say that. Why should I believe that? Where is it? Where is the transaction? I mean, did Christie's ever show anything? Did everyone organize this to pump an artist or pump a space or pump digital art? We don't know this because the only thing that they took was the technology to sell the NFT, but they didn't use the technology for the transactions. So this 69 million that were paid, I don't know where it's written. Nobody has ever shown the invoice. So we went back actually to the auction house, like old system. Would it be possible that he bought his own NFT? I mean, so Meta Coben, the collector, I met Meta Coben. So these people exist. It was a fund. It was a fund. It was two, I believe it was two brothers. So I met them and I talked to them because they wanted the Pepe book. So I talked to them. So these people have in their wallet, they have the NFT. So if people bought his own NFT, it is possible that he paid for his own art. But at the end of the day, it's possible because the transaction was off chain. So if I paid 69 million, like I'm people, I give you 69 million, and then I tell you, okay, transfer the token to Meta Coben. It's possible because when you don't use the blockchain, all these things are possible. It has been happening since forever that artists are bidding on their own artworks, like during auctions, you know, from like different wallets so that the price goes up. But it is also true that the NFT is in the wallet of Meta Coben, and that is real. We just don't know how much he paid for it or if he paid for it. So it's anyways, but this is my, you know, it's just a little bit exaggerated and extreme to let you understand that when you take transactions outside of the system that was created exactly for transparency, then everything becomes not transparent and we will never know if this boom that was created was fabricated on a table, which probably was by Christie's, you know, like, etc. Now, I met people finally like a few months ago for a tour that I was giving in Lisbon. So he came to the tour and he heard about the part that we went through yesterday, the history of NFTs. Came to me and told me that, you know, like that he doesn't really know anything, that he wanted to organize a Pepe festival. And so if I could help him, just very humble. He said that he didn't even know about the blockchain when everything happened. So this is exactly what we have always thought. So not hard feelings towards people who is actually a very, very decent person, but I don't know about the sale at Christie's. I will never believe that happened until we see something. So anyways, so now everyone is talking about Beeple in 2021. And obviously the art world, also because what happened was even not that the NFT was sold for 69 million on an NFT platform. It was sold by Christie's, and Christie's is really like a proof. It's like a proof of concept, you know, like if Christie's sells an artist, then it means that it's okay. And so the art world really started to come like very quick and hard into the NFT space. And then what happened was what we said yesterday, a big, huge speculation bubble was created, because when you have prices like this, I believe the Beeple is only second to like Leonardo da Vinci as a price of a sold work, which is crazy. And so you understand that everyone started to be very, very interested. Okay, so what I want to show you today. So today, what I really want to do is to have like a conversation about this, you know, because there's not too much to like see, but more to talk about the Beeple phenomenon. But obviously, I also want to show you a little bit, if you don't know him, of his art, because his art is still very incredible. And also the piece that sold at Christie's is very incredible. And I had the pleasure of seeing it in his studio. I went to Beeple's studio in August to organize the Pepe Festival. It's an amazing studio. It opens his studio to support other projects. And then I have finally seen the work, the everydays. The work is called the Everydays, the first 5,000 days. And I'm going to show you now. Let's see. Yeah, full screen. The Wi-Fi is a little slow. I don't understand why it doesn't preset. What can you see? You can see all my screen, right? Okay, now. Okay, no, let's go back. So this is the news. Again, February 2021. Okay, this is the work. So this is, it doesn't, you will get the scale when you see people in front of it. So this is the work that sold in a digital format and in the format of an NFT. But it is a collage of all these artworks that people started to create in 2007, every single day. He's still creating it. So it's called Everydays because he creates again, one work a day. So people said that he wanted to start this project because he wanted to even like practice his art more for himself. He wanted to learn especially how to sketch, because he comes from digital. He's like a digital designer. He creates videos, you know, like 3D, but he wants to really like learn how to sketch, to draw, and also like to get better with 3D programs. So it's born from an idea of giving like a discipline to yourself, so that every day, and now that I have spent time with him, anything can happen, but at a certain point he has to go home and he has to do the everyday, and he doesn't want a day. So it's not that he does it like, you know, at the beginning of the week he creates 7. He has to do it every day, because every day is a commentary of what happened today. And so for instance, like if you see here, there is, you know, like a more dystopic images or drawings, digital paintings. What you see here is the photo of his wife. So very personal events, the birth of his 2 children, and like his wedding, everything that happened in his life is documented by one artwork a day. Yes, it's pretty big. And now that you see the people, this is the scale. It is very interesting how disciplined he is again, and also it became like a spectacle, almost like a performance. For instance, when we were here at the Pepe Festival, so there was like a part that was dedicated to Pepe, which is the immersive room. Fantastic, amazing, huge, giant, with screens on tables, screens, bar, and screens like everywhere, columns with screens, an amazing immersive room. And then there is a whole part which is his museum, so with all his artworks, and this was it was there. And then at a certain point, he has 1 hour time. So they started the clock in the immersive room, and he has to create one every day. And so, for instance, that day, his every day was inspired by Pepe, obviously, because it was the Pepe Festival. So he creates live with people. He asks suggestions like, oh, how many cards is the Nakamoto card? 300. So he reproduces, and he creates at his computer with all the people around. Or another time he did it in Lisbon on stage. So this every day also became a sort of like a performance that can be shared with different communities. This is also Beeple's artworks. I mean, it was one of the first ones who really found a beautiful artistic solution, like 3D sculpture video for digital art. These are very beautiful. They're boxes, and they're like it's like framed with metal, and it's 4 faces. So it's 3D. Also exhibited at the studio. I just put some photos that I took, so forgive the lighting and everything, but it's photos taken by myself at Beeple Studios. You can see, for instance, like here you see Michael Jackson, so Pikachu. The aesthetic is very either like futuristic, dystopian, or very ironic about certain characters of the society. He doesn't create his own paintings. He only operates in digital. So his works are digital artworks. And then if he thinks or he wants, or collectors desire for the work to be translated into, manifesting with physicality, he hires people helping him to do that. And okay, and then let me check the time. Yes, and then I just wanted to quickly show 3 more works. Why? Because somehow what I like about Beeple and his relationship with the blockchain is that he found a way to use the blockchain, in fact, also as a medium. If you think about the everydays, and one of the core points of the blockchain, which is timestamp, too few times we talk about the real, like, characteristics, main characteristics of the blockchain. And one of these is the timestamp. It means that you can create history. You can document history through the blockchain, because once that it's stamped, you cannot change the time anymore. It's almost like going through an historical, like research, and really like proof that it was created in a certain time. And so the fact that now it didn't timestamp every image, every artwork that he created in the first 5,000 days, it just created a collage. But the concept of, like documenting every day, the time and the news and what's happening is very recurrent in Beeple's art. And it is good that is using technology like the blockchain for that. Another project that actually happened, which is very fun. We're gonna watch a couple of videos. They're short videos, but they're very nice. Crossroads, which is this like NFT that he, and it's called dynamic NFTs, right? So it's the smart contract. These NFTs are able to be dynamic. What does it mean? That in the smart contract, it is written that it is possible to change the metadata based on some events. For instance, like what he created here with Crossroads is an NFT that it will change later based on who wins the American elections. This means that when the collector buys and collects the artwork, it doesn't know if they're gonna get a Trump or a Biden. So the token will change, and it's not that you have to buy a new NFT. The metadata in the token will change based on the US, for instance, a presidential election. So I want to show you this. So this happened on Nifty Gateway. Let me see. You see, this is the Nifty Gateway, the platform where this was minted, and it was sold for 6 million, in fact. And this is the Beeple description of the work, which is fantastic. He has fantastic descriptions on the walls here and there because they're written in a very like internet language. And so as you can see, this piece is a token that will change based on the outcome of the election. If anything is constant about the times we now live in, it's uncertainty. So this piece of work, so the person buying the piece will not know the final artwork. The artwork will be one state at auction before the election. So you buy it before the election, and after the results of the election are known, will forever change to reflect a Trump or Biden. Please fucking note, this is the actual description of the work. If Trump wins, this token will change to that video of sexy boy King Trump stopping through hell forever. I don't want you coming back to me bitching that you spent $2 million on this and now it's a video of Orange Man going ham and it's keeping up at night popping mad boners. This is Beeple. This resumes what Beeple is, what his art is, what his commentaries are, his irony, his way like of playing. And then this is what we got. Because he lost. So this is the final article. So I found this piece to be very interesting because of the dynamic, and that another piece which is very interesting is also created in 2021, but after crisis. It's this hybrid physical and digital sculpture that I talked to you about. It's this box, this rotating box. And inside there is an astronaut moving through changing digital landscapes. So basically like every day the landscape will change, and I will show you this as well. And also like he hid inside the work some riddles that if you solve, you're gonna get NFTs. So as you can see, like he's very playful with the technology. He's playing with the sense of time of the technology, with the sense again of like timestamp, but also the sense of changing, and also the sense of like uncertainty, and also very, very playful with the collectors of like putting, like riddles that can get you to get NFTs. But I have a video for this, just to show you the work.
My name is Mike Winkleman, aka Beeple, and this is the first exhibition that I've had in Hong Kong. Human One is about the story of the first person sort of like born in the metaverse, somebody who's always existed in this sort of like digital state. Over time, the environments that the person is walking through will continue to change.
Human One is very much a piece about time unfolding. Part of its charm is that it's unfolding and revolving and moving in front of you, which is part of the sculptural element of it. For me, it's a meditation on a possible future, a way that humanity perhaps is thinking or heading towards certain moments, certain realities. But then you can also think about it as maybe a journey through your own memories.
This is something I'm going to keep changing for the rest of my life. And to me, I think that's really exciting because I don't know where this is going, to be honest. I'm truly making it up as I go. And having this piece be something where I can continually comment on things and reflect on things that are happening in the world, I think is really exciting. And I think will keep the piece feeling very sort of like fresh and vital for a long time.
Basically, it's almost like a continuation in principle of the everydays, but applied finally to the technology, meaning that it doesn't have to create a collage and tokenize it, but actually now the piece is changing and the blockchain is actually recording that information. And I think I will conclude for like the presentation of his art with this last piece that I have seen in Turin like a few weeks, maybe like a month ago, which is a tree of knowledge, where I'm missing W, sorry. And this is, for me, I think that it's probably his best work, or one of his best works. And to continue on this like track of, you know, being like dynamic, and to have the possibility of now having a technology that can record and stamp something that it's moving, like the blockchain. And I think this last work is very nice. It took years to create. I saw it at the studio before he brought it to Italy, because the piece is actually collected by John Elkann, like in Italy, you know, John Elkann of the Agnelli family. And it was exhibited during the Tech Week here, I mean, in Turin, and at the Pinacoteca Agnelli. And yes, I'm going to show you a video, and the piece is amazing. It goes basically, the artwork arrives with a console that you can play with. And so there is a button, and you can go from like the state of nature to the state of like confusion. And what is that? It's, you know, you can choose to be in harmony, in the truth, which is the relationship with nature, or you can choose to go towards the bombing of the news and social media and all these electrical devices that we have today. So basically, like technology and information used in a very bad way. And the artwork, while you turn and use the console, the artwork in the box actually changes, to the point that before, so it starts with the tree that you see here on the left. It's like a 3D tree and a very natural and dreamy landscape. And then the more you go towards chaos, so the news, you will see the tree that start to die. When you arrive in the middle between the two status, you still have a tree, but it is black. It's like it's burned. And then you start going towards what he calls chaos, and chaos is the news. And then the piece is connected live with the news of the day. So like if the moment that you go towards the news, the artwork picks the news from the internet live. And all of this is recorded on the blockchain. What happens to the person that owns this work? So they have 666, which is, as the famous song, the number of the beast. So 666 possibilities to create an NFT. And so there is a button that you press, and every time you press it, the sculpture goes to the blockchain and it creates an NFT out of that moment. It means that it takes also like the news of that moment. And then if you create, you have the possibility of creating this number, and after 666 NFTs, the piece will be destroyed. It self-destroys. The smart contract is burned. It doesn't exist anymore. So if you want to keep it, you don't have to take advantage of all the NFTs. And this is also a commentary on the environment. In fact, the money from the sale of the piece was donated for an association for the environment. So it's a very beautiful use of technology and art, and take on you know, like a responsibility towards the planet, and really responsibility towards yourself. You have to choose if you want to be in peace or if you want to be bombed and part of, you know, like fake news, millions of news and social media and etc. I will show you a 3 minutes video for this because I think it's very nice, and then we can talk. So this is people talking about the tree of knowledge.
The tree is generative and chaotic based on how the world is changing and what's going on in the world. That's what's exciting to me, is that this piece will look certain ways in the future that I can't even predict because I don't know what's going to be on the news in the future. Way that I normally work is more like a painting almost, and that I'm using these very advanced tools to say something very specific versus writing an algorithm or creating a system to generate artwork. I wanted to try and do something that was almost a mix of those two. So the 3 different states in the piece are signal, noise, and then a choose violence sequence. The signal is kind of the scenario where we coexist with nature in a pure form. And then there is a noise dial that we have. The noise is pulling in clips and video feeds from many different sources and continually updating it. It has stats and stock tickers and all kinds of information. And it's really an analogy to the information overload that we have in society today. We all are able to choose the reality we live in. You can live in the reality where you're glued to this and, oh my God, the world is ending and Donald Trump to this and Kamala Harris, blah, 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 and like freaking out. Or you can just put your phone down, go take a walk outside, and it's like, oh, I don't know. It's fine right now. We all exist together in the world, but we're all also in our own sort of like little reality. And I wanted to have the piece reflect both of those things. It shows things that are happening on a global scale, but you have the control to either turn that on or turn that off. The choose violence section is the fact that we often fight each other as humans. We've done that many times, but we do not have an unlimited amount of times that we can do that. We could truly fuck up the earth and like, you know, okay, well, now this guy is torched and the ground is salted and whatever. The natural world and technology are obviously very intertwined and something that there's no way to separate out. The conversation around how these two fit together, though, could be more nuanced. And I wanted to do a work that was not pollution bad, because I think it's like, well, that's obvious. But I think looked at the severity of this problem and our ability to overcome it in the future. And I'm quite hopeful that technology will allow us to have, let's say, healthy symbiosis with nature. I believe that too will be something you will see more in the future, where there's this kind of like ritual around digital experiences that people gather for. And it's like the machine's doing something, the machine's saying something, and it will be a weird shared human experience being provided by a machine.
Vera is the IT painkiller. Remote monitoring and management, remote access, help desk and ticketing.
Okay. So yeah, that was a little overview on Beeple's work. Obviously, he created many other works, and he has this all previous production that also one of you was talking about, exactly like the VJs and Creative Commons. I guess I just wanted to talk about like what happened in the NFT history, but also to Beeple defense. There is, you know, speculation exists, but I think that it's just not a random artist. I think that his art is great, and somehow there is also a reason why a creator arrives at that level. now how much speculation and money plays into this, and how, and you know, like the balance between something like 69 million and is art, but also the art market is so ridiculous that it's very hard to talk about these things. But Beeple is also a great creator and is been innovating and somehow using the blockchain also in a way that I personally like, which is towards what I call the blockchain as a medium. I think that we can leave like these 10 minutes for really that discussion, either about his art, but especially about, you know, because I think that you have more questions today for, you know, what happened like in 2021 and how things changed. So please, like, if you have any questions or curiosity, let's talk.
I would like to know, besides Beeple, which artists use the NFT in an interesting way that you find. I'm following your page, you know, on Instagram, and I saw you with artists that I think have a very interesting work on NFT, like the duo Operator, Ana Maria Caballero that use poetry. I like Connie Bakshi. And what artist would you say that you like and that make a difference in this space that you would recommend for us to see and follow and get inspired by?
Very good question. So let's talk about Ana Maria Caballero, because it's a thing that I'm particularly interested in. Operator, they're amazing, and we will talk about Operator in the webinar, Blockchain as a Medium. We will talk about Human or Readable, the generative choreography project. So I will leave the time for them for that. But so you mentioned Ana Maria Caballero. So Ana Maria Caballero is a writer and a poet. And in 2021, together with Helen Yawamoto and Sasha Stiles, they funded something that I found to be incredible, which I can actually, we can also go online there, so we can look together. While I talk, you can see something, which is called the verse. So in 2021, after the boom, as we were saying, like, we started to see art that really like didn't need the blockchain, you know, to exist, but then everyone wanted to participate in the market, etc. But then one phenomenon happened that I am the biggest fan, and you see it here. Poem equals a work of art. So these three women, writers and poets, funded this platform. This it's not, they don't have like a marketplace. It's really like a gallery, a platform, a group of people where many poets and writers came together and started to use the blockchain to validate and legitimate this genre that was almost never, besides exceptional cases in which artists were using poems, you know, like conceptually or like part of their exhibition, but poetry is taught in schools, and if you're lucky enough, you're going to study at university, and then if you are passionate about, you're going to have your poetry books, but it was never accepted in the art world as art. You know, it's literature, it is something very precious and good, but never had a market or the possibility of having a whole exhibition in a museum or an institution where you go there and you're like, oh, like, what is the exhibition about? poetry, like literally with poems exhibited and collected. So I found that very, like I found with this project and poetry, I found that the spirit of really like the crypto art and what the blockchain can do was back. Like they started to also like organize these readings, and so they will like stand up and read poetry, and so it was also because of the blockchain, I have never read so much poetry in my life than like in the past 2 years, because of artists like Anna Maria Caballero or Sasha Stiles. They're all very different. For instance, Sasha Stiles really found, which you see here, it's this artwork is by Sasha Stiles, and this is Kalen Iwamoto. And then let's see, Anna Maria, and this is Anna Maria. As you see, like very different. Sasha Stiles really found, the keys to contemporaneity. She created an alter ego with artificial intelligence, and all her poems are co-created with technology. So with artificial intelligence, and then use the blockchain to like to authenticate, and so to actually like certify these poetry as works of art, exhibit and sell. Talent is more visual and conceptual, so you won't even see many words like language, but the language translates into visual language. And then there is Anna Maria, who for instance lately even started to use her body to perform a poem, and like she takes poems from books that are prizes winners, and talks about a very intimate relationship with being a mother, being a wife. So many of the poems are about her, as a woman, and especially like a mother. We presented a work which it's about motherhood, and you see, she uses visuals and she reads the poem. So you have an audio coming with the poem, where the poet herself reads it for you, and added the body, a performance to the poetry. So you understand that they were able to create something to be very special. One of the most special things that I think that after Beeple, so after like the first projects that we talked about yesterday was created, which is this space for poetry to exist, to be validated, accepted, and transacted as art, and having a spot in the art market. And because poetry found a spot in the art market, hopefully, unfortunately, we're all reading and seeing more poetry around. So I found like I think you should have a look at the verse, because this is one of the best products that our space I think has created. Let me share the link. It is very good. This is just the collected works, but if you go on the verse, poetry is something the data artist participatory center, just coincidence, this connection between NFT and data. Yeah, as I said, it's not the and also data, exactly. I mean, it's the same reason for which data, they're called data. So there are like symmetries of data artists who experimented with that, and then after multiple years, the possibility of actually having what was experimented with finally part of an art market because of a new technology, which is the blockchain.
My impression is that these artists, they are creating something that mixes the technology of blockchain with a more profound concept of art. So it's very interesting what they are doing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for the poets, it is a use of the blockchain to transact, because it's not used as a medium, because really like the medium is poetry. But then it is one of the beautiful cases for which the technology, because it was able to help in certifying and transacting, then it brought more value, and so you have more creators, and finally you see more poetry around. And so, but it's not used, as like a medium, as like operator used in human or readable, but it's still like obviously, because when you enter the art market, then many other beautiful things. I mean, and the fact that every time I go to an NFT event, I have to meet with poetry, I find that to be very unique, because it never happened before.
But I follow Ana Maria Caballero, and she also uses visuals. She has a new work with origami. And so it's
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah.
just poetry, it's visual poetry.
Yeah,
No?
they use visual, they use audio. For instance, like Sasha Stiles, she has her husband who is a pretty famous musician, so he creates like the music tracks for her. And now Ana Maria also performance. Now, what you mentioned is the last project. She's gonna use paper, because I mean, it was like 3D paper images, but now she's actually having people doing in paper. But also performance with the body, like performed on the poem.
Yeah.
And it's so we created an event in Lisbon with Ana Maria for a group of collectors, and the experience was that Ana Maria was reading the poem the first time, and then you have to listen. Then we gave paper to all the collectors and a pen with the text of the poem. She reads it again, and so you listen for the second time, and the third time and you take notes in the poem. And so like you see that you're becoming more and more familiar with the poem, to the point that you think that you can like change something or like circle something, a very like human experience through poetry. And that was very like, everyone was very happy to having like a poem, performed first, and then being part of the actual experience. So even like poetry as performance, which I also find very fascinating.
Very interesting.
Thank you for your question. I love that. I can talk about Ana Maria forever, but yeah.
One more question. Do you know about the demographics of the blockchain? Like, there's the generations baby boomer, millennial, X, Z, and is there any study about that? Who's more, and who are the collectors? What generation collects more? And let me tell you why I'm asking this. I have just written a book with my husband, and we have a project. We are Brazilians from Rio de Janeiro, but we are based in Berlin, and we're creating an NGO. And I have two hats. I work as an artist, but I always also work with my husband with this thing of the new longevity and the change of the pyramid. The world is getting older. And so we work with the prospect of reinventing retirement. We're both in our 60s, and we migrated, we have new projects, and we think people our age should do the same instead of getting towards dementia and retirement and not doing anything. So I think art is a great possibility for this, like in the same way working with causes. So you get to the end of the line of one kind of work, you have 30 more years, and you can do so many interesting things. my choice is working with art and technology, and I decided to learn about artificial intelligence. And the more you learn, you open your mind, and there's no such thing as you cannot learn anymore as you get old. The more you learn, the more you open your mind. So that's why I am interested in knowing about the demographics of the blockchain. Are young people more into the blockchain? Are baby boomers? Because baby boomers, they have money.
They do. I mean, that's a very good. First of all, congrats for what you're doing. I mean, I wish. Oh, yeah, it's great. I don't have stats about this. We can maybe search for it. We're probably only gonna find some statistics about collectors. I am not sure about artists, because even if you find statistics, we were talking about this yesterday, with the fact that many people are anonymous. I mean, you never know who you're gonna meet. Like, these people sometimes manifest themselves at conferences, and you always have like a heart attack. You imagine that someone was like 17, but they're actually 70, or vice versa. In general, it's very young people. I'm always the oldest one. I am 39. Like, so it's like um, but it's been changing, because since when it's becoming, we were talking about this earlier yesterday, since when it's becoming more, it's going back a little bit more towards the art world, then you also have people who are not necessarily like baby boomers or like super young, because at the beginning, when it was crypto, you have, it's young people, it's the Bitcoiners, it's like I think that it's different now, so it's more balanced. I work, I'm the co-founder of this thing, which is called 100 Collectors. So it's a club for collectors, private club for collectors. And we want to speak to young people, because eventually, they are the collectors of the future, or like the very next future. That doesn't mean that older people cannot collect, but just to answer your question, like in the art world, so operator are making it in the art world right now, and they are my age. Like, Dija is 39 and Anya is 33. She's younger. But in the art world, traditional art world, you can't reach a certain level if you're not a certain age. They don't even like consider you. You have to be a little older to be considered in the market, because if you're young, you're just not ready. It doesn't matter if you're a genius, like, usually, obviously. And here it's not like that at all. Because nobody knows how old you are, because nobody knows who you are, where you operate from, what you do. Now we know more, because we started to do a lot of conferences and IRL meetings and exhibitions. So now it's more difficult to hide. Even those who were very anonymous started to organize, private dinners, so they're coming out to light. But it's still different. So I would say it's obviously more towards young people than, let's say, like more aged people. But it doesn't mean that it's good. I mean, or that it cannot change, or you cannot have more aged people. Actually, I really love what you do. But we should, maybe I can look for some statistics. It's not, I don't know, also like statistics, geographic statistics, although the blockchain was very miraculous for instance, like, Rare Pepe really changed the life of people in Venezuela, in South America, like many of them, because of the exchange of the Bitcoin into fiat. It was really like major change for these people's lives, but it's still a very little percentage when compared to, white countries, Europe and the US, where all these people operates from. It's still very uneven, even that kind of statistics. So
yeah, but thank you. You just gave me a good idea.
oh, that's good.
I have a quick question. Eleonora, as you mentioned the example with poetry, do you have some example with animation or illustrations, animations, people who do that?
Do artists who do that, yes. A thing like what they did for poetry, no. Like I don't know about a group of animators who really came together and created a platform for animation or for like illustrations. No, but I do know artists of course, like for instance, like La Mignon, she does for instance, like illustrations with watercolor, and she's one of the first like using watercolors and technology. Animators, I mean, many. If you want names, I can put maybe I can create a link document with useful links and like
That'd be
names.
interesting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Brian Brinkman was a very famous animator. He was even like on the what's his name, like Jimmy Fallon show, animating there, and then he discovered the blockchain, and he's in the blockchain for animation. So there are stories of these people. But but also it's a little bit less incredible because at least like animators they were already coming from digital. That's why poetry felt really like more like stronger, let's say, as a turnout. For animators, it was almost like a normal continuation. If you're an animator and you hear about the blockchain, it really makes sense for you to do that. But I will create a document.
I didn't get the name of the artist working with watercolor in NFT. I'm very interested in watercolor because it was my first medium. I love watercolor.
Oh, she's great. La Mignon, she's great. She really started like she creates in watercolor and that she puts it on the computer and she changes like colors and animates and really like, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I love that nobody's asking about Beeple. I'm so happy. I thought that I had to talk about Beeple, but you have to go through that.
So if you don't have other question, maybe we can close. Are you sure? Okay.
Are you
Last chance to, no, it's not true. We will meet again next week anyway. And also you have my email. I can send email to Eleonora. So
Yes. Thank you.
okay, so thank you so much, all of you, to participate so actively in this workshop and this webinar. And thank you, Eleonora.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was great. I really like when you guys participate. So we have like a conversation. It was very good. Thank you, everyone. Well, see you next week.
Bye, bye. See you Monday with us, but also other webinar. Yeah. No, sorry, Tuesday. Sorry, forgot.
Okay. Tuesday.
I'm tired. Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.